Welcome to another edition of Tell It How It Is, No Filter. I'm your host, Voice of Reason, and I'm glad you could join me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's on YouTube at Voice of Reason NF. The NF is no filter, clearly. Where we speak our minds here, there is no sugarcoating or watering down anything. And that goes both ways because a lot of people could dish it, but can't take it. This is not that platform. Anytime you have any comment on any topic, on any concerns, you are free to speak your mind on any platform you see this on. Once again, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat. I'm easy to find, trust. Hope you enjoy your holidays. This one felt the same for me, meaning like it felt like a regular day. Most of them always are regular days, but you know, whatever special things happen that can separate the years for you, that's what makes those particular times stand out. So if something's happened or you didn't see anybody in a long time, you know, there's events that can make it special, but I felt like it was a regular day and I felt like Black Friday was quiet. Did anybody take advantage of those sales? What's really needed? We need food. You can't keep buying electronics half off, but you know, whatever. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. And for that, we'll have some fun with this first topic. Let's debate. If a woman brings a man to Thanksgiving dinner, he takes that less serious than vice versa. A man brings a woman to a Thanksgiving dinner. So at this stage of life, in your maturity, I want to be understanding to say that that is a big deal, both sides. It's not favorable to just bring a random to a Thanksgiving dinner. We are stubborn people, so we may say, I bring who I want. You know, some of us feel like if we select whoever for whatever, whether they just meeting each other, whether they just having fun, whether it may become something serious, everyone feels like their selection rate is impeccable. So if they decide to bring someone, no matter how new or no matter what, to something like that, they feel justified. As Voice of Reason, I can understand that. I'm saying overall message here is you're not really supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the family, depending on how tight y'all are, and etc. That would just, you know, it won't go left like it. I'm not saying that's a disaster. I'm saying it's going to be looked at a little funny. But if you don't care how things are looked at, as you are. But that's just my overall view to say that I'm telling my whole community that that's not something you should look to do. But for the sake of the topic, I'll sound like a little bit of a hypocrite right now. I agree. If a female invites me to a thing, you can't, Voice of Reason gets jammed up sometimes. There's one side of me that will go if I'm invited just to get food, just for environment's sake. You know what I mean? Just like some enjoyment, because Voice of Reason works so hard and it's been a couple Thanksgivings now. And I don't care. It's not like a Phil pity party. The last few Thanksgivings, I could care less and I probably just was working. So I would probably have gone just for a vibe and not think more into it or feel special or, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it depends on the individual and who you rocking with and how y'all rocking. But I don't really think too much into that. Now, back in the day, I think I held the same frame. Like it don't. So it's true. Like we don't. It's that individual dealing. Like if a female invites us that we like that and we digging, no matter where we at in the relationship part of it, whether we still just getting to know each other, whether we gone there or not, it's us. Like if we look at them with value, then that might feel special to get invited to that. And we still won't behave or take it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we do better with that. Like, you know, we just could go and just enjoy. Vice versa, unless you really got a doggy dog type of chick, no disrespect to Remy. Like when Cam and Maze is talking about the Remy and Pap situation. And it's not a diss to Remy, really. Like, I don't really like how that went. I'm stepping off the subject a second. I don't really like how that went. But I'm not really mad at either party. It's like neutral. Like, Pap is going to respond to that. And if you don't know that story, you don't know what I mean. But bottom line is Remy is like niggerish. And I don't mean like she don't have class or like she's embarrassing blatantly. I'm just saying, like, you see how she is? That's why. If you know that story, you know what I mean. So, like, if I brought her to a Thanksgiving dinner, she might be like, whatever. Those type of chicks that's like tough. But like the sentimental, wanna be in love, and it's not to judge y'all either. You can't do that with a regular degler that looks at shit like, you know, they want to find the one. They're looking for a partner. They're looking for love. So I feel like if you bring them to this Thanksgiving dinner and you looking at it as just random fellas, they're going to take that more than that. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, even a Remy, if I'm calling her niggerish, even a Remy probably could if she's looking at you. So you get the point here is how the person is viewing the individual that's doing the inviting. If they think they're into you and they want more and you do this, that will make them feel like there's a chance to become more. So you got to really be that transparent. But like the family or the place you bring them to, now they have their view of it. So if a guy brings a girl to a Thanksgiving and she looks at him like, look, I'm just fucking around. She may not go, but if she does, she has to understand that stay how you feel. Stay with that view. You viewed him as, you know, unless he does like other special things around it, during it. But if you just pull up, eat, crack a couple jokes, drink, dip, and you wasn't looking at him no more than just fun and for right now, whole frame. But if you was looking at him for potential, you may have to not go if he's looking at it like, man, we just going to eat. Relax. Or you can go and try not to get into your feelings about it and analyze it too deeply like that. That means y'all going to be something. Which, moral of the story, makes us men fucked up a little bit because it's true. Ladies, if a guy is pursuing you, wants to be with you, and that's going to be your partner, that Thanksgiving thing may or may not matter. Like, that's not added. That's not a way to show you that we want to really be with you. I don't think so. Depending, though, this world is so tricky. I can never sit here and give you one straight answer and that sticks for all the time. Fellas, I feel like, how new is it? Because if it's a female you're digging and you want to be with her, maybe, I don't think no matter what, she don't come to that first Thanksgiving. You know, a lot has to be discussed about these individuals for a little while, and then, you know, so it could get tricky. Fellas, I suggest, you know, if you start dating in January and y'all nonstop till that Thanksgiving of that year, and you talked about her, and, you know, it might be a real thing, I think maybe you could bring her because that's like 10 a month. But you can't meet her in August and bring her to that Thanksgiving if you're on that type of time. So you see how this is all over the place? Because if it's simple, like, let's say woman or man in this equation, they're not looking for nobody. That's the best way to tell you right now. If the woman or the man not really pursuing anything serious at the time, they're not pursuing shit. Let's just make that stamp. Still, I feel like the woman will soften a little bit if a man invites her to a Thanksgiving dinner. Like, oh man, he might like me. Vice versa, if a man's not looking for anything, but the female says, come to this Thanksgiving dinner, the only way he strategically may not go is if he knows that she wants more and this will look like she's going to get more. Let me not go. Or he could be on this don't give a fuck. See, when people are not looking for things, that don't give a fuck is a little ignorant and blurred because you still have to consider the other person because you don't want something serious. They might. So if they invite you to something like that and you go, you're kind of feeding into it. You understand? So let's be mature and grown up here. Don't go. Either party. If you are not pursuing that person, you don't see them that way. Even if you've been clear and transparent about that. But I think men will be more stubborn to say, well, if I was transparent and she know the vibes and she invite me to a Thanksgiving dinner, I'm going to just eat, chill, chop it up. So that's why it still holds true that we're not going to take it as serious. So even a woman not looking for something, if a man invites her, she either not going to go or she's going because she's like, wow, maybe he wants more. Maybe I can see what's up. So either way, that's tricky. Overall, that was a good one, though. I stayed on that for a while, huh? So, does happiness dilute hunger? Fellas find the woman he loves, really into, and now ambitions drop some. So, we have friends, we have people that probably can fall into this example, maybe. But I'm going to do the celebrity route just to give, a little more insight on this. So, you had Russell Wilson, since Sierra. How's his football skills? I'm going to let you to tell me that. Klay Thompson. Go back to Russell. He got a ring. He has accolades to stamp his football professionalism. Klay Thompson. He has rings. Damn near top 3-point shooter, amazing. Scorer, period, amazing. 60-point game. I know a little more about Klay than Russell. Since Megan. And that, we could pick that apart crazy. All right. Now, those were the examples of dilute hunger. Steph. And that's the Megan and the Steph, Aisha Curry. I have no proof. I'm not in their household in their bedroom. But you see the antics on her whenever she's on a platform, whenever you see or hear of her, there's been some talk, correct? So how happy are they? But Steph, unless they are, and Steph is the proof that happiness doesn't dilute hunger, because Steph played top notch, unless he hurt. Whatever, you didn't see his shit drop. Russell and Klay, definitely skill level has dropped. You may say Russell shit is age because football life is not as long as basketball life. Klay might be in age too. I know he's still a young boy. Like, he's young enough to still get busy. So I took the celebrity route, but let's go back home to just plain Jane and Joe. I feel it can. And I can only speak from a guy. Women can leave comments or put their sense into this as well. They would have to choose to do so in the comments. Like I said, subscribe to the channel, Voice of Reason NF. But I'm going to talk from a guy's point. It's true in a lot of cases. Get a little personal. Whenever there's quiet for a second, I'm about to go somewhere that I used to feel like I shouldn't go. But I can't be voice of reason and never implement actual examples. So let's go. My music. I can't even talk about before my marriage. The level I went, the lengths I went. And we're not even going to talk about the marriage as an example of this happiness, no disrespect. I wasn't mature at that time, so we can't use that as a valid example as well. It's not to bash anything about marriage or being married. After that though, single life at that time, my music, I was like locked in. There's no question. I was locked in. You know, you could always leave some of my music or how to reach my music here on social media. You could check that out for yourself. Anyway, that stretch after the marriage, the hunger was there. Then when I was in another situation that showed happiness, now I'm mature, so I can speak on that situation. That was happiness, and the hunger did drop. Personally, I can speak on it because when I look at that single section and then the happiness section, and when I came out of that happiness, you got multiple projects, videos, etc., showing hunger. This happiness window, it dropped. You know, the number of projects dropped, maybe a video or so. And it was crazy because that happiness, the partner did music as well, did podcasts as well. So you would think that would shoot it up, and it did show it. So you would think it was on its way to equaling the hunger that I had prior to that person. And it did. In some senses, it was dope. Right? But I know musically, solely, like as a solo artist, as a solo entity, because I've been in groups before. But anyway, let's not stray too far. The projects, videos, single time, happiness, those numbers dropped. Since that happiness, when I had to transition back to single, hunger rose. So I'm done with that. That's the bottom line. Does that happen all the time? You're supposed to mature though. So now the great advice for self and others is if you saw that your hunger dropped during happiness, when you're happy again, unless you can fix the current situation because you're still happy. But let's say that happiness you had diluted your hunger and yet that happiness didn't last. So now you're going to be by yourself a second again. And then when you get into something serious, keep your hunger. Recognize what happened and try to keep it. And for those who still have that happiness that diluted it in the first place, that you have a harder job. I don't know what to tell you because you're still currently happy. You know, it's sad to say that you almost have to fail at happiness to get your hunger back. Think on that. That, you know. But real men, that their adversity is their strength. So will these guys get it back? You know, like I said, with the Russell example, he's getting up there in age, so it may not even just be that, you know. So even if he does get hunger back, football careers are shorter. Clay, getting a little bit of fire back, I think, but it definitely diluted his. And like I said, I can't even use the Steph example because I don't know if they're happy or not. I mean, they appear to be, and he seems like he stays locked in regardless of what's going on around him or at home. So he's actually an example that can go either way, but he can be a representative of showing that happiness didn't dilute his hunger. I'm going to say, as far as I know, that's an example where it didn't. But you're supposed to, even if that has happened to you fellas, if that happiness did not last, when you get into another happiness, try to keep the hunger. Pay attention to the fact that you lost some of it when you was happy the last time. But if you're in a happiness and it diluted your hunger and you're still in that happiness, I really don't know how to advise you to get it back, but you need to get it back. And then tell me how you did that. Because if so, you know, that's like, you know, I joke and I always step off subjects for a second. It's like, how can you speak on something you ain't do? If you don't have kids and if you don't have kids, If I have kids and I want to talk to somebody who don't have kids about it, that's like retarded. So the reason, I could say that here because I was never, the word never is strong. I was never happy and my hunger diluted and then I got it back while I was still in that happiness. You get what I'm saying? So that's why, the Russells and the Clays or whatever, if you're still with that person, but you drop some ambitions, get it back. Prove that, both can happen. Because we ultimately fail if we found happiness and the hunger diluted and then that happiness is no longer. So even if we get our hunger back, it proved that you could have both. And that makes a full life, full success is if you can find the happiness and never let the hunger dilute. Some of us gonna slip a little, especially if it's that real happiness, that real love, and maybe you didn't have that in a long time, if ever. So yeah, it might throw you off track for a sec. It's all right. You know what I mean? The quicker you could notice that, the quicker you could grab hold and go, nah. Let me get back right. That's dope. That's a better success story. That's better to hear that somebody that was in that, they recovered and still maintained their happiness. That's what you want to hear. That would be a good story. All right? All right, we gone. We good. Already closing out. Saying your partner's, this is going to be a fun one. Saying your partner's private parts taste good is definitely an ego booster. How does any of that taste good? But I'm going to go back to original part of it. Saying your partner's private parts taste good is mixed with lustful love you have for them, the way you're into them, how you view them, how you see them. So let me tell you why psychologically it makes sense. But me, being voice of reason and wanted to have at least a fun topic before we get out of here. Why are we lying to each other? It does not taste good. I mean, pause. I don't know. Ladies, you feel it tastes good? No doubt. We lying. It don't, us men with that don't, I'm not saying you don't keep it clean. It's not enticing. We're not into you. All the dynamics that bring us to have intimacy to begin with is based behind the fact that we're tapped in. We with you. We look at you. We admire you. We're amazed by you in this intimacy moment. So, yes, it can feel that way. We can tell ourselves that. We can be into it that much that that's how we feeling. Oh, it tastes good. But dig deeper. Does it really taste good? I guess the more freak you are, disgusting you are, it does. You might really mean that. But this is not to attack it or direct you otherwise or to say to stop. I'm just having fun with y'all to say, tell the truth. And I wish I had a lady here today. It don't taste good. I don't give a fuck if you take a 5-hour shower and put all the nice body washes and it don't taste bad. I'm not saying it's not clean. I'm not saying to not do it. I'm not saying to not enjoy it. But tastes good. Stop. Y'all gonna say I'm nuts because it's cap. And it's both sides. So you can't even say I'm picking or I'm being biased. I'm talking both sides. I just can't vouch for the other side. I fucking wouldn't know. But I'm just being fair. Private parts are private parts. And I don't give a fuck how clean you is. That is just funny to me. And I don't want you to feel like you don't deserve that ego booster. Like we all do. We all do. Continue. Anybody that you with, Vice versa. Tell each other they taste good. I spread the word on this. I approve this message. Continue that. But just know I had to point it out. Like, when you realistically think about it, stop. Taste good. Yo, that's real though. So yeah, continue to enjoy the rest of your week. Till the next time you see me, you know my 3 P's. Stay positive, stay progressive, and stay pushing. Peace.